Here we are today for the final day of the Gunston 500, where over the last 4 days we've seen some of the most explosive surfing by some of the best surfers in the world. The first 2 days were taken up with the trials, where 74 trialists were eventually narrowed down to 16, where they met up with the top 16 seeds.
There we saw a few upsets with some of the trialists knocking out the top seeds. We had a young 16-year-old Jason Ribbing, a Springbok, knocking out Michael Barry from Australia. Carl Rue from Durban was able to beat Robbie Burns, also from Australia. Greg Swart from Durban knocked out Mike Latronic from Hawaii. Round 2 also had his fair share of upsets, as we saw hot favourite for the contest Australian Mark Akalupo knocked out by local favourite and South African series winner Craig Sims. Then later on, 6 times Gunston 500 winner Sean Thompson was eliminated by young amateur Andre Mulherber from East London.
But right now, let's pick up the action with the start of round number 3, where we see Wes Lane from Virginia in the United States of America up against John Shimuka from Hawaii.
Quick, aggressive and radical maneuvers like these from the Hawaiian saw John Shimuka ease through the heat despite a similar strong approach from the American Wes Lane. In the same round, South African series winner and hot local favourite Craig Sims was narrowly defeated by a very consistent Tony Ray in the foreground in white from Australia. Then we had a major upset in the contest when the young unknown Brazilian Flavio Pallarats ripped his way through his heat to knock out the #1 seed Australian Dave McCauley, rated number 6 in the world. A very unusual situation then saw 2 brothers, Andre and David Mulherber, competing against one another for a place in the quarterfinals. But it was the older brother, David, who used his experience and skill to defeat Andre to secure his place in the next round. Then, into the quarterfinals. Here we saw John Shimuka in the first heat up against 21st seed Brett Warner from Australia. Shimuka, true to form, turned in a fine performance with quick, snappy maneuvers with a brilliantly executed floater to clinch the heat and establish his place in the semi-finals. In the next heat, Australian Tony Ray pulled off a few impressive maneuvers despite the deteriorating surf conditions because of a strong northeasterly onshore wind. However, it was not enough to deter the now extremely confident young Flavio Pallarats, who slashed at everything that came his way.
Yeah, I feel really good. It's the first time I got in this position. I'm in the 5th place, you know. My best results from there was 17th. So I'm pretty stoked, you know. I got through the main event, I got some good position. I hope I get through the next heat.
Up next, we have the Australian 10th seed Matthew Pitts, who opened the heat with a very impressive high-scoring ride. But he was up against second-seeded Brad Gerlach from California, whose red-hot surfing with aggressive maneuvers like these was enough to find him a place in the semi-finals.
Felt a lot better in that heat than I have in the previous 2 heats. Felt a bit nervous in the heats before. I don't know, I starting to loosen up a bit. Felt pretty good. Not insane or anything yet, but pretty good.
Jamie Brisick, also from California, was up next, displaying some explosive surfing with excellent top turns off the lip. He was up against the only remaining South African, David Mulherber, who was unable to find the right waves to match his opponent. And so ended the quarterfinals with only 4 surfers remaining. Into the semi-finals, and the tension begins to mount as we pick up commentary on the first heat between John Shamuka and Flavio Padarats.
John Shamuka, he just took off and pulled into a kind of barrel and burst through the front of it. It's closing out the wave. There's not much wall on it, but he's cutting back. It might reform for him. As he cuts back, hits the white water. Yes, it is going to reform in a little wave. Shamuka's really good on these small waves. You see him slamming off the lip there, getting a bit of spray. Still going, moving that board from left to right, notching up points as he goes along. All these waves, of course, judged on a scoring system out of 10. And there he finishes off right on the shore, John Shamuka. There we see Flavio Padarats from Brazil, hard up, and look how high he got on that re-entry. Nice backhand maneuver there for Flavio. Still going on that wave and turning up on the foam. He's really ripping, this young Brazilian. Really turning on the goods. Still going on his backhand again. Another little maneuver there and a good backhand re-entry to finish off with. A nice ride there. Flavio Padarats from Brazil. There we have John Shamuka up and riding. Off he goes off the bottom and a good snap on the top. That was a nice maneuver there. Getting a bit of speed there. Comes with the floater as well. A floater is where you go up and float down on the white water. There he cuts back and hits the white water around. Re-entry back into the wave. Flavio Padarats at the back. Up he goes for a hard backhand maneuver. Then a hard again, and that's a good floater. Excellent ride there for Flavio Padarats from Brazil. He went right up to the top. The wave came down underneath him, and he came down with the wave. An incredibly good-looking floater there, and still going, hoping for a reform in the shore break. Will he find it? I very much doubt it.
I don't think I got a strong enough fourth. Flavio got that really good one at the end, and there's just not enough set for me to get a last one, so I think he pretty much walked away with that one.
And Flavio certainly did, winning and going through to the finals for the first time in his surfing career. The following semi-final yielded 2 Californians up against each other. Jamie Brissick, who had had a fairly easy run up till now, had to contend with an on-form Brad Gerlach.
Here's Brad Gerlach from California, racing along that wave, trying to get some speed. Up he goes for a big floater, pulls it off, and off he goes, a nice hard off the lip there. Brad Gerlach from California. Did you see that last one? His whole board almost came out of the water. The tail of his board right out of the water, and there he still goes. Brad Gerlach from California. Off the bottom, there we see Jamie Brissick, and a hard off the top as well. Another hard off the top. He went straight off the bottom, went quite vertical, snapped it under the lip and got a lot of spray. That's a high-scoring maneuver. Gary still goes on the inside, trying to make the most of this little wave as he does another cutback and another one. There we see up and riding, that's Brad Gerlach from California. That's a really hard roundhouse cutback from Brad. He does another one now, staying with the white water, and there's a lot of white water on that wave too, and that makes it quite difficult to pull off maneuvers, but he's still moving that board from left to right, getting a lot of momentum, bouncing on it now to finish off with a nice maneuver. Hot favorite from California for this contest. He's already had 1 win in South Africa, down in Cape Town for the Malibu. Looking very, very good now.
I rode my bigger board this morning, and it works well, but I noticed the waves seem like they're getting they're inching down, they're getting a little bit smaller. So I took out the board that I've been riding in the contest, and it felt a lot better under my feet. I felt pretty good. Like I said yesterday, each heat I feel like I'm getting stronger and stronger.
So there was no stopping Gerlach now, as he was through to the final to face young Flavio Padarats of Brazil, with his strategy already worked out.
To catch the 5 waves, you know, the 5 good waves is my strategy. 5 killers to the beach.
How are you feeling, Flavio?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel really good because I'm in my first final, you know. It's really great for me. And I just hope I get the best waves and win the contest. That would be really good for me, you know. I really try so hard.
This is a big moment for Padarats, who has never got higher than a 33rd placing in an ASP event, as he now enters a final against a more experienced and confident
Up
Gerlach.
on the outside, there we see Flavio Padarats from Brazil. Another backhand top turn for him. He's surfing on his guppy foot, meaning he's got his left foot back and his front foot being his right. 2 backhand maneuvers there and a third. Really a quick little surfer, as I've said before. There's up and riding at the back. We have a Brad Gerlach from California. Good top turn for him on that one. There he goes for another one now. It's got a lot of speed on that one, a lot of spray. You see the spray of each little turn of his, and a nice floater to finish off with. There we see up and riding at the back. That's Flavio Padarats from Brazil. There he goes again, and a good roundhouse cutback on that one. On at the bottom, good little snap. Still going in that wave. Working it all the way to the shore. There he's going to do another little top turn from left to right, still going, comes down towards the shore, looking for an inside section to reform for him, but it doesn't. Brad Gerlach now up and riding on a really nice looking wave. That was a good floater on the outside. Got a lot of speed on that one. Does a cutback and another roundhouse cutback. That's 2 or 3 major maneuvers now. Still going in that wave. Brad Gerlach.
As the final seconds of the heat ticked away, all that remained was for the totalizers to tally up the scores, but it was quite evident that Gerlach's performance was a touch above the Brazilians. In a final sporting gesture, they leave the water shaking hands. At the prize giving, the Capacity Crown was a fitting celebration for the 21st anniversary of the oldest running pro surfing event in the world. Contest director Paul Berta had the last word.
Winning the 1989 Gunston 500 was from California, Brad Gerlach.
Didn't know I was going to end up winning a darn surfing contest. What the hell? I'll take the money.